to start now. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming to Side by Side's virtual event on uOttawa course selection and general information Q&A workshop for incoming first years and high school students. We ask that everyone please stay muted and switch off your video throughout the session. We ask as well, this is a virtual event, so there might be some technical difficulties, so please be patient with us, and we thank you ahead for your cooperation. So my name is Ashley, and I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Side by Side Agency. And before we introduce our panelists today, I would like to introduce a little bit about Side by Side. So Side by Side was started in late April as a response to COVID-19 to help students adjust to online learning. We initially only provided free tutoring services to K-12 students. However, we wanted Side by Side to continue to grow even after COVID-19. So we created the mentorship program to help high school students and incoming first years to gain better understanding of post-secondary education and pathways. In addition to our tutoring services and mentorship services, we have a tremendous amount of resources on various topics that can be found on our Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and our website. To sign up for our mentorship program, please follow the link which I've included in the chat. Once you sign up for our mentorship program, we will personally match each student to mentors based on their academic needs and interests. And of course, you may request a particular mentor by checking out our mentor profiles on our website or Instagram. And once you sign up for our mentorship program, we will have one-on-one conversations or email interactions with a university student that is paired with you based on your university or program of interest. And essentially, your mentor becomes your support system where they will help you have a better and well-rounded understanding about university, your program of interest, and general post-secondary education and career-related questions. As well, you'll get exclusive access to our future workshops such as resume, CV, interview prep, and pre-law, pre-med workshops. Now for today, we have a group of 4 extremely accomplished panelists. And these panelists are in a variety of programs at Ottawa, but of course, in our mentorship program, we also have several more uOttawa students and other university students as well. Now, before we begin, something to note is that if you do happen to have a question, please type the question in through the chat at any time. And if you feel more comfortable, you can also message me directly. And if you have a question for a particular panelist, please write their name in front of your question. And afterwards in the Q&A section, we will go over them. Now, at this time, can our panelists introduce themselves?
Hi everyone, my name is Dina and I'm going into my 3rd year of health sciences.
Hi everyone, my name is Nayanan. I just graduated, last summer from Translational Molecular Medicine. And I did that program for the last 2 years of my undergraduate. And for the first 2 years, I was in the Biomedical Sciences program.
Hi guys, my name's Shomya and I'm in 3rd year and I'm studying International Development and Globalization.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicky and I'm going to my 3rd year of Biomed in the fall and recently added a minor in psychology.
Okay, thank you. And before we continue on with this presentation, can everyone just turn off their video and mute themselves once again? Okay, and now we'll move on to our panel presentation of this workshop. And we'll have Dina introduce herself first. Hi, Dina. Okay, I think she has some technical difficulties. So...
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. So as I said, I'm going to 3rd year of health sciences and I am specializing in integrative biosciences. I hope to work in healthcare in the future, hopefully a doctor if I make it. Some of the extracurriculars that I do, check us out if you'd like. I do volunteer at palliative care as a receptionist and a play and learn volunteer. And I do have a couple of other things, but my one advice for everyone right now would be put yourself out there, go to office hours, and please take care of your mental health.
Okay, and moving on, we have Nayanan.
So hi everyone, as I said earlier, my name is Nayanan. So at uOttawa for my first 2 years, I was in the Biomedical Sciences program. And then after doing an interview and applying for the translational molecular medicine program, I had gotten into that program and I'd finished my studies in that program. In terms of future career interests, primarily I really want to become a professor that does research at a university. But if not that, I wouldn't mind working in industry and just working in the more biotech sector there. In terms of extracurriculars at uOttawa, I started a club with my friends called uOttawa Talk Music in my third year of my undergrad, and it's just like a music discussion platform that we fostered. And additionally, I was a member of Let's Talk Science, and not shown here because I didn't think it was that big, but I was also a member of all the orientation weeks at uOttawa, starting in second year. And my biggest piece of advice for incoming students would be to not get lazy and to get very involved early on, because you should really get involved in extracurriculars and get to know the people that you're in school with. And on top of that, just not get lazy and stay on top of your lectures.
Okay, now we have Vicky.
Okay, so once again, I am in biomed and minoring in psychology. For future career interests, I would like to pursue medicine or research. And for extracurriculars at uOttawa, I am VP External Relations for World Vision. I'm part of Jack.org and Amnesty International. For an outside of school extracurriculars, I am a part of Help Learn Discover, which is an Ecuadorian volunteering opportunity company. And some advice I have for you guys is that you have to get an agenda or set up a calendar to provide yourself a strict timeline and manage your workload. It can get very overwhelming, but if you have a plan, then you can conquer your studies effectively and not get sidetracked.
Awesome. And then we have Shomia.
Hi, so as I mentioned before, my degree is International Development and Globalization, which is a social science. My future career interests have to be humanitarian law. Kind of the undergrad I'm going for has a focus on that, and then afterwards I'll complete my JD. Humanitarian law or journalism in current events, and just in that field. For extracurriculars, I'm the co-chair of the Indigenous Allies Network. I'm also involved in my school at Model UN and DECA as well. But outside of the school, I have my own blog. I am a part of the creative team for a publishing company for Tamil Books. I do write for Tamil Guardian, which is a newspaper based on Tamil events. I'm a lot more involved in my community in respect to my culture. And I guess my advice would be to take first year very seriously. Do not slack, no matter how easy readings can be. And yeah, don't go crazy on extracurriculars, but I do recommend using them to find what you're more interested in, to narrow down what you would like to do for your career in the future.
Okay, thank you. Now we have some prep questions for our panelists. And like I said before, if you have any questions, please just send them through the chat. And if you have a question for a particular panelist, please just indicate that in your question. Our first question is, when did you decide you're going to apply to uOttawa? And starting off, we have Dina.
So a big factor for me was I wanted to live in res, so I knew I had to move out. And so for me, it was between Western and uOttawa, and then I chose the program. Well, I was in psych first, so that was the program that appealed the most to me. And I just ended up choosing uOttawa based on the location and the program, which was psych at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, Vicky.
I was deciding between health science at Western or biomed at uOttawa in high school, and decided to go with biomed because I like the lab aspect of the program. I didn't want to limit my studies to just pre-med, just in case I changed my mind midway through my studies. So biomed was the perfect match to prepare me for my med school or a career in research. In high school, I took business and science courses, discovered what I like and what I'm good at. And since I've always loved science, and decision when applying to programs was pretty simple for me. I like that uOttawa has a lot of specialized programs, so we don't have to declare a major in university, and you technically just go in with a major right off the bat. And this makes course selections very easy and quick.
Thanks. And Nayanin? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for me, it was, I wouldn't say it's as exciting of a story as the others here, but coming out of high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I liked science, and I kind of had a rough idea I wanted to do medicine, but that was more so my mom wanting me to do medicine, not me. Regardless, I decided I'd do like a degree in biomedical sciences because I'd done well in sciences and I liked it at that point of time. Now, also one big thing was since I was unsure about university, I wanted to just stay at home because not only does that save me money, it's also, in my opinion, a safer bet. And at the time, I did think uOttawa was an easy school, but that is not at all the case. And don't trust anybody if they tell you that. And yeah, also having my mom in like the healthcare field in Ottawa, I felt it would give me a lot of connections in Ottawa, and I would have a lot of opportunities there. But as I'd find out, I wouldn't take a lot of these opportunities because I was interested in a completely different field.
Okay, and Shamia.
Yeah, so as a social science student, it's pretty commonly known that you can apply virtually anywhere and get like the same degree. But for me at that time, I remember it was between doing business at Western, so the Ivy program, and coming here for the co-op program. And ultimately, I knew I wanted to do law instead of business. So co-op in the capital city would be more beneficial than a more strenuous Ivy program that would impact my GPA for law school, which was kind of the big picture for me.
Okay, and moving on to our next question is, when did you decide your major, program, or that career pathway? And I'm going to start with Nayane.
Yeah. So similar to my previous response, initially I was interested in going into med school. I didn't really look into too much what that entailed and what undergrad program I could have done, because I only found out that you could do any undergrad program very later on in my university. So I just decided to follow what a lot of people in my high school decide to do and just do a basic science degree as a means of getting into med school. Now it helped that I was good in science and that I liked science, so I kind of just followed them. Now, early on in my undergraduate studies, I pursued a volunteer research position over the summer. And then it was then that I realized that I actually really enjoyed the academia side of science and just the basic science research. And that's when I discovered about the translational molecular program, or TMM, as I'll call it throughout this presentation. So then I switched into that program after my second year.
Okay, and Vicky?
So my only two interests from high school were businesses or sciences, like the rest of my high school. And after taking a variety of courses, including business and science courses, I discovered that I really hate business. So I continued to pursue science. And biomed was kind of where it all fell in place of how it would prepare me for med school or the research path.
And Shamia?
Yeah, so as I said before, I've always just been really involved with my community and development on that aspect. So it was really just like a natural choice for me to choose the very obvious and broad political science. But by second semester, first year, I realized that I did like the international aid a little better, and I think it adhered to what I wanted to do in the future once I get my JD. So yeah, I changed it to international development and globalization, and it really does work better for me.
Okay, and Dina?
I knew I wanted to do medicine, work in the healthcare field, so I wanted a program that would have all the prerequisites that I needed, and psych appealed to me at uOttawa. And then I tried a semester of that, but I took one elective in health sciences, and I love that so much that I switched. I still get all my prerequisites in, and yeah, it better fit with overall what I enjoy.
Okay, and our next question is, how was your application process, and was there any like supplementals? And starting off with Shomia.
Yeah, so unlike most business programs that I applied to, for social science, it was very easy. You just needed a strong top 6, and yeah.
Great, and Nayana?
Yeah, so just like Shamia said, in general, for like most, or well, from my understanding, most degrees, they will just look at your top 6, and then you'd apply through OUAC. One difference is that when I was transitioning into the TMM program, we had to submit a letter of intent, and then on top of that, we had to do an interview, and we need to have a GPA above an A- over our first 2 years of our science program at uOttawa.
Okay, and Dina?
Yeah, it's just the same as everyone said. I applied through uOttawa. The only thing they asked of me was, I think, a bio for you, and chem for you. Other than that, it was pretty the top 6.
Okay, and Vicky?
Yeah, so they just looked at grades for me, and it was very easy through OUAC. No supplemental was necessary, and to keep your admission, you just had to maintain an average of 70 and above for each course.
Awesome. And the next question is, how's the co-op and internship research and extracurricular opportunities like at uOttawa or at your program? And starting off, we have Nyan.
Yeah, so in terms of those different opportunities, I can give a lot of advice for research. So I got my feet first into research in first year. And the summer after first year, essentially what I did was I just wanted, so I'd started emailing professors in like January-ish. And I just sent emails to a bunch of different professors who I thought whose research was very interesting. And I just asked them if I could volunteer in the lab in the summer, no pay, nothing. And then I tried to send a unique email to each professor. That's a really important thing. So in terms of research, I'd say getting yourself started early or trying to get your feet in it or trying to get your toes in like the water like very early is very important. If you wait too long, your chances just get harder and harder because once you get your first position, it's very easy to get any subsequent positions. And also, if you're really interested in research but don't really want to go through all that trouble, I'd highly suggest applying to the TMM program because it's kind of baked into the program. So you're bound to get that kind of opportunities in it. And I can talk to you guys later about the experience in that program. When it comes to extracurriculars, there's actually a list of clubs online, and actually uOttawa in both winter and fall semester, there's a clubs week. I guess it's kind of hard this year because of COVID, so things are online. But you can learn about all these different clubs because there's different clubs like that set up like these little like booths in the university center, and you can just learn about them and sign up for some of them. And other than that, yeah, that's all the advice I can give.
Great, and Vicky?
Okay, so for co-op, I actually opted out of the co-op program after I got accepted into it. But to apply, you just need either through OUAC when you're applying for your initial program, whether you want the co-op option or not, or you can apply after you've gone into uni through the co-op portal, and admissions will just email you if you've got in or not. But I can speak a lot on extracurriculars since there is a uOttawa clubs list website available, and that will be in the PowerPoint later. But to check out the clubs you want to join, and I would recommend shooting clubs a DM on Instagram or Facebook, and email is always a fantastic source to reach out as well. And if you want to improve your application process through extracurriculars, you can always be extra involved in high school to make your application stand out, and having executive positions in high school to prepare you for the skills and experience needed for extracurriculars in university.
Great, and Dina?
I can speak on extracurriculars as well. So I found a lot of my opportunities through uOttawa. We have a page called Community Navigator, and that shows you like our like current on-campus opportunities. And so you just select it. There's usually a bit of training, and you get to go, and you can log your hours through that. And then UROP is also a great opportunity for research. I know they prioritize second and third year students, but yeah, it's really easy to get. You just have to have above 7.5, and you find a supervisor by emailing a bunch of profs, and yeah.
Great, and Shania?
Yeah, I can totally also agree with the extracurricular aspect. But for me, I guess one of the hurdles I had for co-op was proficiency in French. My high school did have the French immersion program, but I didn't do it. I did core. So I definitely was lacking compared to my colleagues, but having a diverse resume really helped. So like I'm fluent in a different language, and also, so I'm fluent in Tamil, and also just like having the confidence to get you through the door is like half the steps you need to get the job. So, yeah. Don't underestimate yourself, and the opportunities will come.
Awesome. Okay, and our next question is, what are some tips you have for a high school student applying or for your program or major? And the first question goes to Nyan.
Yeah, so in terms of like basic, so at uOttawa, all the basic biology programs, the first 2 years are roughly the same. So whether you're in biopharm or BPS, biomedical sciences, biochemistry, generally they're the same. The big difference comes whether you take physics or not in your first year. So in general, the courses, the first year courses are meant to weed you out. So at least when I took them, we had two very hard profs for the two intro biology courses. So Bio 1130 and Bio 1140. So you have to make sure that you stay on top of everything for those courses. Anatomy can be also very tough, especially if you're in biomed, because anatomy, it's a lot of content that you have to study and it's a lot of memorization. To be honest, I came from quite an academically heavy school, so it wasn't too bad for me. But then again, it's always good to be on top of your courses and whatnot. The good thing is at uOttawa, a lot of the courses are recorded. So what I usually found myself doing was going over the lecture recordings, despite even going to class. And then sometimes I would not even write notes in class, but then write notes based on the recording so that I kind of take in the material twice. But yeah, in general, I feel the second year is a lot worse than the first year in terms of those general biology courses, because you're taking a lot of hard courses back to back, because you have like genetics, you have biochemistry, you have organic chemistry too. So especially in second year, you kind of want to be on top of your studying by that point. So I'd really suggest in first year to get your routine set and like your studying pattern set, so that by second year you're set for everything and that you're good to study. In terms of bird courses, Drugs 101 is known as this notoriously easy course. But one thing that you should know if you're going into science is that it's not considered a science elective. Some other easy courses, I found Geo 111 or 1111 very easy. But there is a lot of studying involved, but I just found the content very interesting. Also, a lot of psych courses, especially the first two introductory psych courses. I found them difficult for me, but that's because I'm interested in different things. But a lot of my friends had told me that these courses were quite easy. And let me think if there's anything else. No, yeah, that should be it.
Okay, thanks. And Shomia, are there any courses that you like to recommend?
Yeah, FEM 1100 with Dr. Corey Scott. It's the best. Like, I don't even think you have to be a social science student to appreciate it. It's just amazing. But with Dr. Corey Scott, all the other props are kind of whatever. Yeah.
Okay, and Dina?
I guess my advice would be don't do all-nighters. They're painful. They won't get you far. They're unnecessary. Just start studying early. A few hard courses that I took, I think first year health sci in general is pretty chill. You do take anatomy and stuff, but other than that, it's a pretty chill like first year. Second year, HSS 2305, molecular mechanisms with Dr. Menzies, is horrible. I enjoyed it because I love the content, but I know that our average was really, really low for the class. So make sure you're on top of your game for that class. HSS 1100 with Dr. Franco was probably the best class I've ever taken. It was so interesting. He's such a great prof. It's challenging, but it's still very easy to understand. And then anything with Najwa Haddad, so the psychs are pretty good as well.
Thanks. And now we have Vicky.
Okay, so some easy courses for first year, you have to take English. So if you don't want to take essay writing, then Intro to Prose Fiction I found was very easy. There's barely any reading involved. If you have to read, is also always like a short story off the internet. Child Development was very easy as well. I took it this year, and it was basically if you took Psych 1101 and 1102, then you're all set for child development. And Psychology of Adolescence was also very easy. Some hard courses to look out for are Orgo 1 and 2. I took Orgo 1 with Professor Ogilvy. He was very easy since there was problem sets you can just study off of, and all the midterms and exams are based off of problem sets. Orgo 2 was a bit more challenging since I had Professor Flynn. Anatomy was also very challenging as well. Intro to Structure and Bonding was also very challenging for those who are taking the medicinal chemistry option for biomed. I would recommend taking that in the summer or not taking it at all. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. And our last question was, how was your transition from high school to university courses? And starting off, we have Vicky again.
My transition from high school was actually very difficult academic wise, since I had really bad study habits from high school. I was more of a last minute person. I just study like the night before a test or the morning or even during a lunch break. So bringing these habits to university was very difficult for me to get a grip on my studying and time management. But when you're on the verge of academic probation, that will definitely give you a wake-up call to pick up your study habits. And as time went on, I was better at managing my time between my studies and social life, and especially through making an agenda and a strict calendar to get on top of your due dates and everything. In regards to professors, they require you to know a lot of your prereqs from high school, and all of my science courses for the first month was basically a review of high school. So I would highly recommend brushing up on chemistry before you go into university. And for regards to friends, I met most of my friends through Frosh. So my friend group is my study group, and having people that share the same goals is very beneficial to keep me motivated.
Okay, great. And then we have Shomia.
Yeah, I totally agree. I also think going to office hours really comes in handy because it just shows the prof that you're hands-on and you're willing to learn and you're willing to improve. And it definitely has saved me around the corner for like that last minute grade bump. So I would recommend doing that. Any prof with Tyler Atwood, 2 T's, 2 O's, Tyler Atwood, that you can get, I strongly recommend you take it. He is not only an easy marker, but an excellent teacher. And yeah, I found all my friends. I didn't go to Frosh because my family wanted to go extend their vacation a little longer. So I was also really stressed about finding friends. But like I found them like in my classes and like in study groups, and they're like one of the closest people I know. So don't stress if you can't find your people at Frosh.
Okay, and Dina?
I definitely agree. I didn't go to Frosh either because I took that week off. But I found my friends through study groups, and just people came up to me randomly like, hey, are you in my class? And clubs as well. In terms of academics, I was super stressed out about like grades and stuff. So first semester, my grades were great, but I was so burnt out by second semester because I just studied and did nothing else. So I would say avoid that. Like you need to have a balance between like social life and your school. And then I also agree with the prof thing. Go to your profs whenever you need to talk. Like after midterms, I would go, they would look over my midterm, tell me, yeah, you have this that you need to work on, or like you get this, but you don't get this part. So they're definitely there to help you. So take advantage of that. And they're definitely helpful when it comes to like needing that 0.5% to like go to the next grade.
Okay, and lastly, Nyanan.
Yeah, so for me, the transition academically wasn't as hard. As I mentioned earlier, I don't know if any of you guys also come from a similar school, but I went to an IB school and I was a bit ahead in terms of content. So for me coming in, I got like transfer credits for like, I think a biology course, an English course, and a chemistry course. I didn't take them because those 3 courses just ended up being review material for me from my high school time. So effectively, it just became easy, like free grades. I will say though, that little bit I got ahead in like my first year, that didn't really matter in second year because second year was just, by that point, we were all on the same, like it was all like a level playing field by that point. So academically, all I can say is try not to get lazy. I myself put things off to last minute, but that's also because I work very well when I'm under pressure rather than being able to work things over long periods of time. So honestly, like if you guys figure out whatever works for you and whatever is giving you the best results, figure that out in first year because you don't want to be still trying to figure those things out later on in undergrad. In terms of friends, so being from Ottawa, there was a lot of Ottawa people from my high school that actually came to university with me. Funnily enough, I wasn't really friends with them. So I went to Frosh and I met some friends there, but one of the guys I met there still is one of my closest friends to this date. And then in terms of other friends, I just met them in my classes, honestly. And I guess a lot of them would do research with me at the same building. So we just see each other very often and just talk. And yeah, what else? What do professors expect from you? I find professors in science to be especially ruthless. A lot of them won't care about how you feel and won't care about your grades. But despite that, you should always try and argue things or argue your grades. I was kind of a guy who that let things fly, but then I usually lost some very critical grades that I could have done better in. But yeah, I'd say that's a pretty important thing too. Like always, as Shamia said, go to your office hours, especially after midterms when they allow you to contest your grades. Try and do that if you can.
Okay, thank you. So now we finished our panel presentation portion of this workshop, and in our next slide, we have a list of resources. So this website will be on our, this PowerPoint will be on our website, so feel free to check it out after. And now we've finished, we will move on to our Q&A session. So like I said before, just type your questions in the chat and we'll get to them. And please write the panelist name if you have a question for a particular panelist. So our first question is, for Dina, do you have any suggestions on groups to join as a nursing or health sciences student?
Ooh, okay. So the Health Science Association is a pretty good one to join just because that's in a faculty. And then there's a bunch of health clubs. So Interprofessional Health Association is also another one. There's the UNSA, the Nursing Association as well. I would say if you want to commit to like health sciences, nursing, that type of things there, but I would recommend you venture out. Like I do Let's Talk Science, and that's like nothing to do with my degree. So yeah, I would recommend those, but do venture out. Like it's definitely helpful. It shows you different perspectives and you meet different people from the same faculty as you, but yeah.
Okay, and the next question is for Shomia. What would you say the difference between international development and globalization and versus poli-sci? And yeah, what's the difference for you?
I guess like one of the biggest differences the theory, like it's very dense. Like so it really just depends on what you want to learn. Political science was very like boring. Like if you like Keynesian and neoliberalism and all those theories, have fun. But me personally, I felt like international development and globalization really fit what I like because it definitely has more of a focus on like international behaviors, the economy. So like if you like economics and you like learning more about development on an international scale, rather than just like the nitty gritty, like to me, very boring theories of like how a political system works, that's really just the difference. So it's like, and then there's also conflict studies as well, which is a mix of both. So it's just on a spectrum of like, do you like theory or do you like applying it in the real world? And then conflict studies is like a mix of both. That's the best way I can describe it. So yeah.
Okay, thanks. This question is for Narayanan. What made you choose the TMM program and what other prereqs did you have to have in order to apply?
Hey, so in terms of prereqs, as long as you are enrolled in a undergraduate program at uOttawa that's in the biological sciences, you're completely set. If you're coming from a different university, as long as you complete all the course requirements for that, so I'm pretty sure it's just 1 whole year in biology, 1 whole year in chemistry, biochemistry, genetics, a whole year of organic chemistry. I think that's it. But if you want to know the specifics, they have it all listed on the TMM website at uOttawa. What made me choose the program? So as I mentioned, after my first year, I had already gotten an entire summer's worth of research experience. I continued that throughout my second year and the summer after second year. I just worked in the same lab as a means of like the UROP program. And I knew I wanted to do research, and I was really interested in the more applicative science side of science. And I feel I wasn't really getting that out of the basic science program I was in. It wasn't that I didn't like biomed at all. It was just more so that I really enjoyed doing research, and TMM is literally filled with it. Like you're gonna have to take a year-long course where you're just working in a lab, and then you're gonna present your findings. So I find it's really hands-on, and it gives you a lot of experience that you would have to venture out and get otherwise by searching in labs. So it's also useful for people that don't really have a lot of academic background in like basic science and research that really want to get involved in it. So that's one of the big reasons why I chose TMM. Plus, a lot of the courses you'd find are very similar to like the upper year courses you take in like biomed and biopharm and biochem, but they have a research twist to it, and they're very hands-on. And it's really nice because the class sizes are very small. So I think in TMM, I never had a class size bigger than 20. So yeah, you get to know the people in your class very well. It's very nice. And also the small class size does help in getting grades, but don't go into the program if you're just looking to get good grades.
Okay, thank you. And I guess this is also for Nayan. And when would be the best time to start getting involved in research?
Yeah, so what I usually tell people is that there is no best time. In my opinion, I think it's great to get started early, but if you're struggling in school, I'd suggest to focus on school more. Obviously, you can always do research over the summer, which is pretty easy to get. One big important thing is that when you email a lot of profs, regardless of how genuine you sound in your emails, you will most likely get ignored by the profs and they will not reply to you. The important thing is that you stay very diligent and that you follow up with emails just to make sure that the profs are seeing them in their inboxes. Not just that you email a wide variety of profs, but make sure that the profs that you're interested in working for, because you want to at least sound a bit enthusiastic and interested in the work that they do. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's any time that's best to get involved in research. Obviously, as early as possible is great because it just helps you get more opportunities later.
Okay, and this is for Shomia. I'm in the conflict studies program. Is there any jobs for the future that you know about?
Yeah, totally. I think working with global affairs, international human organization, IHO, and yeah, just like literally any sector. I think global affairs would be your best bet though, because they do have a lot of hands-on work for policy and diplomacy as well. So yeah, that would be where to check that out. Also NGOs, because conflict studies is very heavily based in like policy work. So anything with that really.
Okay, this one is just a general question for everyone. How is your experience of taking online classes during COVID-19? Is it better or worse than it is in person? Yeah, Shomia.
Yeah, sorry, I can't find the raise hand button, but I like it personally better just because I study better when I'm not put under pressure, unlike Nayanin. So like I like the very general like pre-brain, here's your seminars, do them as you can, and then apply it to your work. So, yeah.
And Dina, anything you'd like to add?
I actually hated it. Like hope this doesn't last for too long. I prefer being in class, and the environment is much more encouraging when you're physically there with people and with like the prof in front of you. Yeah, my grades definitely dropped after going back to school online, but I guess everyone has their own thing. Just keep on top of it. Like just because it's online doesn't mean it's not there. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, and for Shomia again, I know you said a little bit about it before, but can you just explain why the poli-sci program didn't work for you?
Yeah, so just as before, political science, I guess for me, I'd like things that are more diverse in my course. Like the political science was just like intro to political science 101, and then intro to comparative politics 1102, and then it's globalization and politics, and it's very like the history of politics. And if you're really into that and you're a history buff and you love looking at the structural frameworks and stuff, that's all you. But personally, I want to go work in NGOs abroad, and I also considered a master's program in the future as well. So to have that ability to explore beyond social sciences and also have a degree in economics as well, like have those options, also was appealing to me. So, yeah.
Okay, and this is for Nyan or Vicky. Can you guys just repeat briefly about the courses that you guys found personally hard about the biomed program? Oh yeah, Vicky.
Okay, so I personally found anatomy really hard since I am a last minute person, and anatomy requires a lot of memorization. So for that, I would definitely recommend start making notes early on and memorizing if you could after like a week of lectures. And for Orgo 1 and 2, staying on top of the problem sets really helped me study because the exams and midterms are all from the problem sets.
Yeah, and
in terms of, for me, okay, so anatomy, there's a lot of memorization. If you're not good at memorization, that course will be hard for you. General chemistry was pretty easy. I'm just talking about first year classes right now, by the way. Organic chemistry can prove to be difficult for a lot of people because it's very conceptual. You have to really understand how different things interact with each other. So if you're good at understanding those kinds of things, I know it's hard to think about that coming out of high school, but as long as you know, like, if you're really good with your chemistry and your basic understanding of like different chemical trends and whatnot, organic chemistry will be a breeze for you. I found the first 2 biology courses at uOttawa extremely hard. To be fair, during my time, we had these 2 notorious profs. I'm pretty sure they don't teach anymore, but Dr. Hausman and then Dr. Petit Turcotte, they were known for being really bad when it comes to first year courses. And as I said, they're meant to like weed you out. So a good thing about those courses was that they really prepare you for your upper year studies because it teaches you how biology courses work in university, where it's really weird in that it's not really multiple choice, and like for their long answer questions, despite not being multiple choice, they expect specific answers. So you kind of have to learn how to answer biology questions. So that's some of the difficulty in those early courses that you take in biology, at least. So yeah, I'd say anatomy, organic chemistry can be a bit difficult for some. And then in second year, I have to say biochemistry is probably the toughest course you will take in biomedical sciences. Some people argue that microbiology is worse, but I think biochemistry is really bad just because for some reason the profs have this incompetency to teach like the very last third of the course about like enzyme kinetics and whatnot, but then give these ridiculously hard questions in the exams. So biochem will be hard. Genetics will also seem hard at the beginning, but it's in reality a very easy course, and the prof is just a weird guy that doesn't really know how to teach, but you can teach yourself most of it.
Okay, and this one's for Dina. Do you have any tips for a future undergrad nursing student, or do you know anything like your friends have said about the nursing program?
Oh, I did hear from a friend that as you go up into clinicals, it gets really, really difficult, and they have like really, really strict profs when it comes to like how you do things. So I guess make sure you find a good prof and get stuck with that. Like go on Rate My Prof and find who's the prof that has like the highest rating you could possibly find. And I know that nursing, the first 2 years, it's pretty much a health sci degree. And what I can say is health sciences can be boring when it comes to like social determinants of health, and so you slack off and stuff like that, and your grades will fall. But try to stay on top of that. And then profs, we have like 2 good profs in our faculty, if I'm being honest. Like really try to get on top of that, like get into your classes, like the good profs as fast as you possibly can. But yeah, I'm not really sure what else I could say because I don't do nursing. But if you have any specific questions, like if you find my email, you can email me and I'll probably ask someone for you.
Okay, and Nyanan? Oh, sorry, you're muted.
There was one thing I wanted to add to my previous question that I completely forgot, but Dina reminded me by saying it. So Rate My Prof is actually an extremely useful tool when it comes to uOttawa. So for some reason, a lot of traumatized uOttawa students, or a lot of uOttawa students that just want to give back to the incoming uOttawa students, write very extensive reviews, or well, not extensive, but write a lot of not good advice, but more so whether you should go for a certain prof or avoid a certain prof. So I'd say go on Rate My Prof before choosing your courses because you can choose to be in a specific prof's course. Also, speaking of choosing to be in a specific prof's course, if you want to always have the choice of prof you're in and the time and whatnot, unlike other schools, uOttawa is very nice in the sense that course selection opens up for all first years at a specific date, all second years at a specific date, third years, fourth years. So, and it works on a first come, first serve basis, which I think is very fair. So if you guys, let's say, for example, want to get in the specific biochem course taught by the specific biochem prof, try and be on the day of course selection, be there as early as possible so you can choose all the sections and all the courses that you want exactly.
Okay, and there's a couple questions about paying tuition. Can anyone explain really briefly in simple terms how that works? Yeah, Vicky?
Okay, so I actually recently paid tuition and I couldn't figure it out. So I just went to my bank and through a teller or online, you can choose your school and the account number should be your student number. So just pay the amount from there and it would directly get deducted off your uOttawa account.
Okay, and do you guys have any experience of living on campus versus off campus? Yeah, Dina.
So I've lived on campus for 2 years, two very different residences. So the first year res, I had no choice. I applied way too late and I got stuck at Rideau. Rideau is like one of the further campuses, so winter was a pain. I didn't go to a lot of classes just because it was so cold. So I would try to avoid those, but if you're stuck there, then good luck. One thing about Rideau that I did not like was the shared kitchen. So like we had 17 floors and all of us shared one kitchen. So it got pretty messy. So like make sure you have like your own stuff. Like you don't want to use the shared utensils. And then one random thing is there's a lot of fire alarms. You don't realize a bunch of students that come in and they just want to smoke weed all the time and they do it in the staircases. They set off the alarms and it's like 3 a.m. and you have to. So that's one thing that's a pain, and I've experienced that even in my second year res. So look out for that. Other than that, just have a first aid kit, probably a kit, and then bring your towels and stuff. Like you don't want to. Everything you need at home is pretty much what you're gonna need at the res. That's all I pretty much can say.
Yeah, Vicky.
Okay, so I wouldn't recommend living Rideau or Friel since they are really far. And if you are taking like night courses, those are going to be a scary walk back to res at night. I lived in Thompson. It was nice for the social aspect of it, but it was very dirty and we had a lot of fire alarms and the building is very old and the elevator always breaks down. So if you were like me living on the 18th floor, walking up the stairs is such a pain when the elevators break. And my friend also lived at 90U. 90U would be the best res I feel like there is. Either social aspect, common rooms, and the amenities there. I don't have anyone living in Marchand, but Stanton and Marchand are basically the same thing, and they are very similar to Thompson, which is they have single rooms and double rooms. The double rooms are significantly bigger than your single rooms. So if you are moving in with someone, then I would highly recommend a double room. And for LeBlanc, it smells all the time, and they recently had a molding situation, and it just looks like a high school. So I don't recommend LeBlanc.
Okay, and are there any career centers or like career or major advisors at uOttawa? Yeah, Dina.
Yeah, there is a career center. They're pretty chill. I know one of my like res mentors, the people who stayed with us, works there. So yeah, you just walk in, and they do send us like emails to remind us that they're there and stuff like that. And they have like an event, I think, where like you can come and talk one-on-one with an advisor. But that's all I know about that.
Okay, I think Shomya, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. Yeah,
Oh,
and also
okay.
academic advisors, but that's about it.
Yeah, Nayana?
Yeah, so in science, we have these guys. They're called the science buddies. I feel a lot of people don't know about them, but they literally chill, or like their office is right next to the science undergraduate office. If you guys end up going to uOttawa, you'll see it. I forget the name. I think it's the biosciences building. It's been a while, but it's in like the back section of the biosciences building. These guys are very helpful. They're in there all day, and they will help you out with any course help you need, maybe even career options and everything. They're also very successful people and smart people. All of my friends that were in Science Buddies are in med school right now, so I know that the cohort of people there they would probably be very helpful for those of you who want to achieve very cool things and big things in your lives. What else? In terms of career options, yeah, you could talk to your academic advisors. I find that sometimes they can be very annoying and very incompetent, but that's beyond the point. But there are people you can talk to on campus. But I highly suggest, if you guys are in science, going to the science buddies and talking to them, because they have a lot to offer.
Okay, and Dina?
Yeah, just to add on to that, we do have some for health side. They're not called anything, they're just called mentors. They also have like old exams. So if you hit them up like with an email with the course, the prof, they should be able to pull up a few like old exams. Notebro, this is so random. Notebro is a website that has like a bunch of old exams that you can probably use. And then also academic advisors. Honestly, it's luck. Like I've had an academic advisor like squeeze me into like a class where the wait list was full just because she was nice. And my friend went in the like later that day and found someone else, but they were really rude to her. So your luck basically is what I'm gonna say. They're really inconsistent, unfortunately, but yeah.
Okay, Vicky?
I recommend making an appointment before you go in the academic office, because the walk-in ones are really bad and they probably won't help you that much. But if you make an appointment and go in the office to meet with the academic advisors, it goes alphabetical order depending on your last name, and those are the ones that will definitely help you.
Okay. And I'm just gonna end the, oh yeah, or if you guys have anything else to add, you can quickly say it. Nayana?
Yeah, so I got a question privately, and it was asking me about IB and how does that help you in
Okay.
university?
Okay, I'm gonna send the mentorship link again in the chat, and if you guys have any specific questions regarding like IB or like extracurriculars, one of our panelists does, you can sign up and we'll get you guys connected. But Dina, any last words?
Not really. Just make sure you prioritize your health as well. Like it gets tough sometimes. You need a good support system, and we do have like walk-in therapists and stuff like that. Like please make sure you take care of your mental health. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. And now we reach the end of our workshop, and we would like to thank everyone again for joining in. We will be sharing this presentation on our website, so be sure to check it out if you forgot some of the things that we've covered. And finally, before you go, just a reminder to please sign up for our mentorship program if you're interested. Follow us on Instagram at Side by Side Agency to stay updated with our content and future events. If you ever have any questions, comments, or suggestions for us, feel free to either email or DM us. Thank you again.